Hello people of the earth and welcome to Quick Save TV. My name is Mike and this is Take a Look at my series on my channel in which I take a game and just present it to you in about 10 minutes, present the best things in the game, worst things in the game, and let you decide whether or not do you want to purchase it or not. This particular game is not going to be something extremely new, but it was in the Indie Royale and I thought, hey, why the hell's not? Well, Unepic is a blend of many genres. In essence, it's inspired heavily by Castlevania, by Diablo, and by... what was the name of the game again? By this dungeon crawling games, which are in isometric perspective. It is absolutely amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and briefly show you all about it. We're gonna go ahead and select a new game. As you can see, I played 3.5 hours with it. It's amazing, okay? We're gonna go ahead and just skip the tutorial. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you who is TV. You're gonna be shown Quick Save. That's going to be your name. You can select the difficulty. And when compared to the very first version of the game, you can select from 4 difficulties now. There's easy, medium, hard, and very hard. So, of course, the difference is on hard, you will be getting additional skill points. On hard, you're going to get 1 additional skill points. On the extra hard, you have more additional skill points. And easy, medium is just classical thing. What would you expect? We're going to start with the medium. Well, the game as such... as you can see, we start right here as this little guy. The whole entire game you will be seeing as such from this isometric perspective from the side. The game has wonderful music, wonderful graphics for its 2D-ishness. It's 2D, but it's very beautiful for what it is. In the game, there's a lot of different and sophisticated systems. There's a system of leveling, there's a system of gaining experience. I'm probably gonna go ahead and get back to menu and start Quick Save, erase game. Yes, please, erase game. Start new game. Medium. Okay, here you go. That's how the game starts. The story is really simplistic. We play as one of the guys who's playing a D&D game, right? A tabletop game. And he goes to the toilet, and it appears that the light goes off, and he just teleports into this new realm, and he has to explore it, and etc, etc, etc. He teleports inside of it, and the only thing he has with him is the Zippo and what he's dressed with. Of course, in my circumstance, because I have purchased the game from Indie Royale, I will be also having this Royale ring, which is an absolute cheat. It adds you 64 health, which is an immense bonus, as you can see. Let me show you. Here's the boost in health. It's a gigantic bonus in health. It's, you know, it's really cheating. If you also bought it from Indie Royale, I do not suggest you use this ring. I would really suggest you to throw it away, actually, because it's very powerful. Then we have, yeah, logic, right? Just throw it away. You have a lot of places to actually customize and equip your stuff. You can use Ctrl, Shift, and normal keys, so that there's so much space you cannot imagine. You can place item in any of these slots. I usually use them for weaponry. You will be able to use them for whatever that is you desire. Potions, weaponry, spells. Then we also have this F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, the different slots which are automatically filled up. F2 is weaponry, F3 is potions, F4 scrolls, F5 books, F6 rings, different jewelry, F7 pets, F8 clothing, you know, in your inventory. You will be able to also change your clothing. They are all apparent on the character. It's not going to be just the change of clothing that is no unspoken, you know, it just changes and nothing happens. It really does. There are traps in the game and many other different things. You will be trying to survive. Of course, you will be trying to outrun different enemies, and much like in Castlevania, you will be trying to kill them all because you're going to get experience in that. You will be encountering different places. You will travel around different parts of the palace as you explore and gather additional keys. Keys will be gathered by killing bosses. Boss fights are pretty epic, I have to tell you. I've fought with only one of the bosses right now, but I did see in a trailer they look amazing. The very first boss fight I had was reasonably difficult. I won't say it was really difficult, but it was okay. It was fine. And the whole story concept is going to be around us being possessed by this spirit. Now, this spirit is apparently serving whomever owns this castle, and he was intended in the first place to kill you, and he will always for the remainder of the game intend to kill you. So you will have to for the remainder of the game just double second guess whatever it tells you. And game is filled with profanity and different jokes which are referring to StarCraft, which are referring to World of Warcraft, Castlevania, just pretty much everything, to Star Wars. There's, you know, it's like a big amount of references to everything. The game as such does not has It has its own concept and the story, but it heavily tries to make fun of it, right? Of everything that is made similar of it. You know, like everything that is in the same genre. It talks about RPGs and etc, etc. For instance, main character, often when he describes things to the creatures inside this world, he lies and pretends to be part of other universes, of World of Warcraft, of StarCraft, of, you know, pretty much everything, anything and everything. The primary thing you will be doing, you will be running around the castle. You will not believe with what? With a Zippo lighter, which was the only thing that the character actually took with him to this world, and you will be trying to light various torches and sources of light. Lighting these torches and sources of light will help you to avoid, to signify, first of all, where you were, and to... Okay, got the snake, excuse me, it's poisonous. I really don't want to be bitten by it. You're going to be trying to destroy these creatures, to pick up new weaponry. The looting is a lot similar to, not really similar to Diablo in many ways. It's very different because, for example, there's not so many prefixes and suffixes. There's very few, as a matter of fact, but all of them matter, right? There's green and blue and yellow coloring of the items, as in, you know, unusual, rare, and epic, and etc, etc. There's coins which you can pick up. These coins you will be using to buy stuff from merchants. You can buy, sometimes if you're lucky, you can buy armor, weaponry. In other circumstances, most of the times you will be able to buy arrows and etc. You know, this supporting stuff, not so much main things. Each weapon type is effective against different types of creatures. For instance, you can see right now that when I was punching the snake with the mace, the effect was not so dramatic as if I would do with a sword. Different creatures will be vulnerable to different weaponry. For instance, sword is very effective against living creatures that can bleed. For instance, the same snake. For instance, bats, and etc, etc. Mace will be effective against creatures that have a lot of hit points and that are armored. The perspective in the game is as much as you can see. The level, this particular part of the level, it might be much bigger, but as long as it's not lit by any source of light, be that my lighter Zippo or be that any kind of other source of light that I've lit, I will not be able to see through that. So you have to be aware of that. It might be a little bit difficult, but generally the game is very friendly to a noobish player. It gives you chunks of content one after another. It doesn't really overwhelm you with stuff. It says, oh, here, look at this. You can have this kind of weapons. Oh, there's different types of weapons, and then there's magic, and etc, etc, etc. Every little once in a while you will be gaining a level. On a level you will get 5 skill points if you're on medium difficulty or anything below hard, right? And you will be able to spend these points in investing daggers, swords, maces, axes, polearms, bows, wands, constitution, potions, armor, and a whole array of magical skills which slowly fill to the bottom. But unlike with the normal skills, magical skills you actually have to learn. You have to find out how to get these magical skills. You will have to complete quests which are not necessarily difficult, rather tedious and very, you know, there's a lot of things you need to bring to the quest giver. That's it. That's about it. There's nothing really much more to say about it, but in its simplicity, it's amazing because there's so much things to explore. There are different regions of the castle. It's made in the best traditions of Castlevania. You know, you travel around different locations and they're all different, and it's very, very exciting because of what it is. There's nothing really unusual with it, but there's so much content, and at the same time there's so many places to explore. You will not be running around the same locations for long. You will be constantly switching it. You will be encountering different enemies. You will be trying to loot different chests. Unlike battles, chests can only be looted once, which means you are insinuated. The game insinuates that you should explore. It's beneficial for you. You will be able to brew your own potions, you will be able to cast your own spells, you will need to gather essences which will be spent on spells. So spellcraft will be the hardest, the most difficult thing to do, right? But at the same time it will be much more effective than anything else because of its distance, let's put it simple, to other weapon types. There's also bows. Let me just go ahead and tell you what there is in the game. There's maces, axes, polearms, bows, and wands, right? So daggers are I mean, in addition to swords and daggers. Daggers are fastest to attack, but not necessarily the most damaging kind of weapon. Let me go ahead and pick it up. Not necessarily the most damaging ones, but when you backstab the enemy, they're gonna get additional critical chance, additional damage. They're very, very powerful in that if you can flank the enemies. Swords are immensely effective against targets that can bleed, that can be cut. Maces are extremely effective against armored targets. Axes is a middle ground between swords and maces. They are extremely effective against targets that can bleed, and they can also destroy some of the things that maces can, but they're not extremely effective against armor. Axes are slower than swords, and I think they're slower than maces, so they pay for this middle groundness. Polearms are very slow weapons, but they have extremely long reach, and thus they help you deal with snakes, for example, so you don't get poisoned. Bows are extremely effective weapons which allow you to actually target at the enemies. Allow you to target at the enemies, which is immensely easy. You just press tab and you are automatically targeted at the specific enemy, which allows you to easily liquidate targets which are not on the same level as you are. It's actually a well thought principle, helps you a lot to take down bats, to take down different things that actually fly, to take the spiky things down. You will encounter them if you play the game. Now, this thing is actually a skull gate, right? So it's like, you need to gather these keys, which are usually held by guardians, by specific bosses, which you will have to kill. This specific place right here is the spirit, which is entombed in a box, and you will have to use it in order to restore your health. Okay, you will have to ask it to restore your health. The main hero, he actually gives different names to different people, and he introduces himself as a different character every time he meets anyone. This is in here, much like in Castlevania system of teleports. Castlevania, I'm talking about Castlevania Nintendo DS. I apologize if I don't speak to people on Nintendo Entertainment System. I don't think it was there. So through this you will be able to travel around all the parts of the castle. That's very intuitive, as a matter of fact. There's the map. It's not really explored right now. We have here is gold, here we have the thing. Different regions of the castle will be differently colored. We have different icons representing different things. So, you know, there's really a lot of things in it. A lot of things in it. Then you, of course, as you gain levels, you'll be investing points, which will help you customize your character a little bit. Whether do you want to prefer favor swords or maces, or is it the axes or polearms? Would you like to wear different armor, or would you like to be good in spell casting? All of this can be achieved as long as you have the patience for it, you see. So, trying to take them down. Okay. That's the bats. I don't know if you can see them actually, because they're very small, but you can see the movement kinda. They are dropping different items in essences, right? They drop essences and they drop body parts, for example. In case of bats, they drop wings every little once in a while. These items will be used in order to actually brew potions, poisons, and etc, etc, etc. This will be, I'm not sure about poisons actually. This is the clothing, this is ranger clothes. Let's go ahead and equip it. As you can see, the character can be very well naked. Everything is modeled as far as, modeled, drawn. Everything is drawn. It's a very huge plus to the game, if you ask me. All of the items are actually drawn, and the character is, you see it on the character. Be it a sword or a mace or a polearm or a plate, whatever it is that you're using will be attached and shown on the character, which is absolutely amazing. For the game of such stature, of the indie game, it's an immense success, I would say, for the author. I think the game is absolutely great. I totally recommend to you to try it. It's a lot like Castlevania and those dungeon crawlers around there. It is reasonably difficult. You can customize your difficulty to great extent, helping you to enjoy the game just the way you want. There's many systems in the game, and the game is huge. It will yield at very least 12 hours to you, if not more. Now, if you're about to die, like in my circumstance right now, you would be able to use the band, which I don't have right now for some reason. This band would teleport you to the place, and depending on the difficulty, this teleportation may or may not be required to actually save the game. And in this difficulty, the game saves automatically. Right now it died, and as you can see, the game is over. The game is over at this. But I can continue the game because of the difficulty I have. Because the difficulty is not as dramatic, I can actually go ahead and continue it. Load the game. Yeah, and it's saved right here. The enemies are respawned, but at least I can try it again, you see. So I totally recommend you this game. It's a lot of like dungeon crawlers, as I said. It has a lot of ideas. It borrowed a lot of ideas from Diablo, from Castlevania series. It's not bad at all. It's actually quite amazing. It's in what it is, and for a price they ask for it, the author asks for it, it's €5 if I'm not mistaken. It's very, very small price because you're going to be playing it for a lot of time. If you're a fan of such games, there's a lot of content to last you, and then you can always try the game at higher difficulty once again. You can just restart the same content. I don't think it's a big deal. However, I think I would prefer if the game would have randomly generated content. I mean, randomly generated levels. I think it would add to the game's awesomeness as such. There's already limited generation of content, like for example when you kill an enemy and he drops a mace or a spear or whatever, it can be of different qualities, which is great, but it could have been better. But it's not necessary because most of the people will not even play for that long. For myself, I will probably find myself something to do. You can assign different things to. There's so much customizability. The inventory can be split on 4 different squares, on 2 squares, horizontally, vertically, however the hell you want. Everything is available. Everything is easily to customize. Easy to customize. As you can see, the spear is a little bit slower but has longer reach. Immensely helpful to deal with snakes, for example. Immensely helpful. You can attack and jump again. Bosses demand different strategies, etc, etc. And I could talk about this game for a lot of while. As you can see, I've been talking right now non-stop like a machine gun, and still I couldn't compress everything that I would like to say about the game. The bottom line is the game is great. You should totally try it yourself. It's amazing. There's so many mechanics in the game and so much stuff to do, the leveling, the learning of spells, the crafting. There's just so many things to do, and the quests, and overall it's just generally very, very funny game. Not necessarily the most, it's not sophisticated kind of humor, but it's references to popular series, and the way he presents them, it's just very, very funny. Okay, it's been Mike with Quick Save TV. I thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this video and my commentary, please do not forget to put a like on the video and subscribe to my channel in order to see more of such content and to support my work. I thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and pick up this game right now, and have a great day. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye bye.